there, I'm Dr. Franklin, Assistant Professor in the Department of Psychology, and today I want to talk with you about spatial mapping. Spatial mapping is extremely important as you consider the observations that you'll be making as part of your ethnography. In particular, when you arrive at your workplace site and you start making observations, you'll be noticing the space and analyzing it. You'll be looking at where the flow of traffic is. In other words, are people following the prescribed flow of traffic? Or are they taking alternative routes to get the merchandise or perhaps interact with workers that they need to correspond with? You'll be noticing where certain objects are congregated. Are they congregated at the front of the store? Are they in the middle of the store? Are they in the back of the store? Perhaps they're in the back where only faculty and staff can go. You'll be analyzing that. And then finally, you'll be noticing where individuals are congregating in terms of dialogue and other types of conversation related to the business. Are they near the front of the store? Are they near the cash register? Is there anything like that in your particular place of business? Maybe there's a foyer and then you have to go through another set of doors and walk down a hallway to interact with who you want to interact with. I mean, the possibilities are endless in terms of the workplace sites that are out there, and thus the types of spaces that you can analyze are endless, and the meaning that they give to individuals within cultures are endless. So listen, if you're curious about spatial mapping and how it relates to ethnography, I want you to stick around for this presentation. That's right, we're going to go wheels up, talk about spatial mapping so that you can have the background information necessary for you to go to your workplace site and analyze it efficiently. How space influences us all. People's work-related lives are affected by the location of resources, the areas where tasks are performed, or where exchanges take place. The social lives of people include where they sleep, where they congregate for conversation and decision-making, who sits where at social functions, and the geographic location of social groups in the wider environment or residential unit. People's religious lives take place in churches, temples, and a variety of sacred locations, often defined by their auspicious and unusual location in the landscape. The relative placement of structures and objects is important in worship, whether it is the placement of elements in a Navajo sand painting, as seen here, or the placement of sacrifices on an altar or mesa, as seen here, or the placement of communion elements in a Protestant church, as seen here. Finally, even people's biological lives are heavily affected by space, in particular, reproduction and the continuation of the human species. In other words, what I'm saying is that who you decide to make bae or babe or my girl, my man, my boy, my hubby, my wifey is in large part influenced by the space where you are. A lot of research says that mates are often selected from among those that are nearby. So, in short, space matters to people. So, I want you to take this into consideration as you make your observations. In geography, map making, even drawing mental maps of a place, is called cartography. Everyone that experiences a space experiences it uniquely and differently. We may find common themes that most people would or would not remember. For example, most faculty would recognize Joseph Eccles as the place where the NSU basketball players host competition, right? However, the basketball players who have lockers in that building might know certain things about the building that others do not. This developing understanding of a space is part of the process of giving an area meaning, which is sometimes called placemaking. There is no completely accurate measurement of any phenomenon. So an ethnographer must make a value judgment on just how much accuracy is necessary to capture the relevant information for a particular ethnographic phenomenon. For instance, if one is drawing the placement of shoes on their map for observations made in Foot Locker, it's quite possible that they will emphasize the shoe stands on the wall and not the carpet or stickered advertisements. You must decide what degree of accuracy and detail is necessary for representing particular human activities and objects in space. So for this assignment, you will create a visual spatial representation of the location important to your ethnography. This will allow you to get acclimated to your space. Other purposes will be discussed once you complete the map, but know that it is related to the active nature of your research project. I'd be remiss to mention that maps can be used for unethical purposes, which is certainly the case with Christopher Columbus discovering places that he claimed for Spain. He named and mapped those places to legitimize those claims, bringing those spaces into Spanish European sense of world order. European explorers, colonizers, and enslavers claimed spaces that belonged to other people, and they even claimed other people themselves. Lastly, I want you all to keep in mind that maps are representations of locations. So think of it this way: a photograph would never do your beauty or your handsomeness justice, right? If somebody was to look at a photograph of you, it would just be a depiction of you. But then when they met you in person, they'd be like, oh, oh no, oh, so good looking. No, I'm not ready, right? They would do one of those numbers. They would be blown away by the real time experience of your beauty. In the same way, guys, when you're creating your maps, keep in mind that a map will always pale in comparison to the actual place or location. So that wraps up my brief discussion on spatial mapping. This is just a background of some information that I want you to keep in mind as you take those questions, as you go to your workplace site, you make observations and you strive to answer those questions. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, you know where to find me, and I wish you well. Be great, be amazing, be a Spartan.